Hey, how's it going? In this video, I'm going to build a task list and a project page live in front of you. A Notion system that automatically links together and keeps your entire workflow organized without needing to touch a single formula. It uses complex roll-ups, relations, and automations that are fully built in. You're not going to have to write a single line of code. I'm going to teach you how to use AI, specifically ChatGPT and Notion AI, to generate and implement this in just minutes. All right. This can take hours, if not weeks, for someone to implement this just by doing it on their own, not really knowing what they're doing. But when utilizing AI, especially AIs, and combining them together, you can really supercharge your workflow and make these, complex systems within, hours. Um, so with that being said, if this is your first time here, welcome. I build powerful Notion systems designed to simplify your everyday, streamline your business workflow, and everything like that. Today we're going to be diving into a task and a project system. So I'm going to be walking you through exactly, that process step by step. You'll see all the dead ends, all the detours, so you can get a real look at, what it takes to really build a system like this from scratch. And if you stick around to the end, I'll show you exactly, how to build the system and how to grab it for free, how to implement it today within minutes. So with that being said, here's the system we're going to build. Before I show you the actual demo, let me give you a little bit of context of the system, because I feel like understanding why we build the systems is just important as building the systems like themselves. All right, so if I hop over to my task list, over into my main dashboard, you can see that this is genuinely how I have it set up. I have a little do soon section right here, which if we go into the filters, it will actually tell us that it's, relative to this week. But the deadline is also today. So this is going to say everything that's, you know, today, but also 7 days in the past. So this is one of my favorite sections I've built, and it's just as simple as those filters right there. Also, we have a little no due date section. So this is just filtered by having no due date, simple as going into filters, and putting the deadline as to empty. I don't know why it highlights everything when I click it when I'm recording. But with that being said, we have some formula instructions over here. We'll get into that in a second, but I'll give you a quick example of how this page works, entirely. So if I wanted to, new personal task over here, we'll name this, test task. So immediately you'll see that the test task goes into the no due date section, which is very nice because if you're, someone who tracks time and everything like that and, is very organized, that, being able to visualize stuff on the calendar is huge. Also, that calendar is going to transfer over to Notion calendar. So if you have your databases and everything set up over there, it's very important to make sure that you're not missing projects and tasks just because they don't have a date. So off first glance on the right side of the page, you're going to get this, no due date section. Just say I wanted to complete this task today. What I would do is I would come and I would drag this, over to Wednesday. And immediately you can see that in the top, of the page, it will enter the due soon, it'll move itself over from no due date over to due soon. And, because the due date is today, it's going to say in the formula that I created due today. And this formula right here, although it can't be created from the Notion AI builder, I'm going to show you how to create something like this with ChatGPT, just copy and pasting, the formulas back into Notion. It's really not as hard as you think. You just need to know how to, talk to the AI a little bit. And that's what I'm going to be here for. I'm going to be, coming out with an entire series on the Notion formulas, how to prompt AI, how to actually just talk to like ChatGPT or Claude or any of the LLMs that you choose to use, and really be able to generate what you want when you want without having to know a single lick of code. So with that being said, you can take a look at this. You can try to analyze it. I can read it, but I write this absolutely not. And then I also like to drop formulas and instructions for you guys as well. So if I hop over here, this is just the same task list, but in a a Kanban, view. I also have it in a table view as well. And as you can see, these are both free on the marketplace if you guys want to go grab them today. So if we go and hop back over to the original task list and pull up the formula instructions, you can give a quick read at this, but basically, I'll give you a little visual representation as well. So as this task moves through the calendar and the date changes, this formula right here that we've seen above will change, the color, the style, the bold and everything as we go along. So here's a little visual. So we start in, one day, it's due today. We go to 2 days, it should stay the same with a 2 days bolded red. And then if we go to three, this is when we should get the bold of the white. And then anytime we go past three, 7 days, 8 days, 9 days, we're going to get a non bolded white. So, and it's not going to be in the due soon section because as you can see, this is 9 days left and this only has everything due within, that 7 day period. So that's actually really big when, tracking tasks and stuff because it almost like self organizes for you, but also gives you a nice visual representation as well. So now with no cuts, no detours, no nothing, I'm going to show you in real time how we can get to this in the shortest amount of time possible. So with that being said, we're going to be utilizing, ChatGPT, Notion AI, and their page builder in order to, come up with something that fits our scenario. So if I come over to the Notion homepage, you'll see that we have ask, research, and build. We're actually going to be taking a look at this build aspect. And if you've never, heard about this, utilized this before, this can actually build you a custom database. It'll build the database page, it can add properties. There are definitely limitations. Notion, by chance, if you're seeing this, um, we need buttons added to, all of this and, definitely more because this can be an extremely useful feature. I know, the Notion MCP with Claude is a thing that will probably, be, better and more utilized, in the coming future. But this is a very powerful tool that I think that a lot of Notion people, if not everyone, should be utilizing. So I'm going to give you the ways that I use it. So we're actually going to come over to ChatGPT, right? And we're going to start with the voice dictation mode or whatever you want to call it. And the reason that we're not going to type is because I feel like in my head, it allows me to kind of just like ramble and, free flow my words into, the AI. ChatGPT will kind of formulate that into, you know, what I tell it to. And then we're going to take that and we're going to throw that into the Notion page builder. So, with that being said, I'm just going to click on this button right here and I'm just going to start rambling, right? So, hey, can you generate me a little prompt for the Notion AI builder? Today we're going to be generating a task list. Some of the properties that I might want in this task list would be a type property, or we'll go with a select property, name it type. Personal, project, and content can be some of the um, properties that go within that. I also want a select property for status. Let's go with not started, in progress, on hold, and completed for that one. I could also use a select property named priority. We'll go with low, medium, and high for those. Let's also throw in a deadline property for this as well. And then that's probably going to be it. We'll start with that and we'll see what that gives us. And then we'll go from there. Okay, so that's going to go into ChatGPT. As you can see, I just ramble. It's going to take what I said, kind of just going to do its thing. I'm not going to cut any of this up so you can see, all of it. Unless I say something like really stupid or something. But yeah, so, we're just going to take this, not even going to read it, and we're going to come over to the builder and we're just going to see what it does. So as you can see, this is going to be, designing, adding types. I'm actually curious of what it said. So name, title, type, property. Okay, so it mostly got everything that I said. It probably got everything that I said. Um, and as you can see, it generated this little database over here. So it gives you a couple other options that as well, like notes, signed, estimated. You can also make changes as well, but this is actually a key thing to realize. So once you click continue right here, you don't get to use this add or make changes button. Now, that is something that maybe the Notion to Claude MCP will be able to figure out and fix in the near future. But for right now, this is like a one time thing. So you kind of want to have all of your thoughts and everything for the original game plan kind of like thought out beforehand. So I'm just going to hit continue. It's going to give me all the different types of views that we want. Do we want a Kanban view? Do we want calendar? So we're just going to take all three of those, hit done. We'll see that immediately we have a task list. We have type, we have content, we have all of our, statuses and everything that we can need to just get going. And when you follow me on social media or, listen to me talk, I'm really big with just getting in and getting out, building powerful systems that look nice, aren't stacked with widgets, but utilize, color theory and formulas and, code and call out boxes and everything in order to really, represent the data in the best way. But as you can see, we just generated that and we didn't have to go into the builder over here in the top right, like at all. Now, formulas, buttons, database buttons, all of that stuff is not accessible from the Notion AI as of right now. Trust me, I've tested it. I've tried workarounds. You can't prompt it to do buttons and formulas and relations and stuff like that. But, we could go in and generate a projects page right now and then just go into the relations and link them together. And in the matter of, a couple minutes, if that, you have a working task list with all of like the properties that you'd want alongside of, the projects page with all the properties you want. You can have them linked together and you can be like on the go, right then and there. So, that's the power of the Notion AI Builder. I'm going to be dropping an entire series on how to use it, how to prompt ChatGPT, how to prompt the AIs better. I'm going to be going over formulas, different formulas that you can use, different ways to use them, and stuff like that. Um, and if you want, just hit the subscribe button, and I'll be diving into that in the future videos coming soon. So with that being said, now that we have this, task list page that was just generated for us, it would be nice to, generate a powerful formula like in the other page to go along with it, right? So with that being said, if we come back over to the task list page and we come and we check out this formula right here, or we'll just actually look at it from the side, and we see that it says, the overdue is bolded red when the date is passed, due today, blah, blah, blah. We're going to generate this without looking or giving ChatGPT any reference of the prior code whatsoever. So you can see in real time that when I start, prompting the AI, that we can get to something as powerful as this in a short amount of time. So if I come back over to, um, the AI, um, you can see that we actually already have all of the properties and their names from generating the task list already. So, major key point that I recommend when you're messing with a page that's already been created is the AI needs to know exactly what you're talking about. So when you drop property names, when you tell it stuff, it matters if it's a capital P or, a lowercase p, or, just all letters and numbers and stuff, whatever the format is, semicolons and stuff like that. So when we're looking at this page right here, it's very nice that it already has the properties. So if I click, the voice mode again, and I say, hey, with the properties that we just generated in the task list above, can we generate a formula that when the task is overdue, we're going to style B and bold that red, when the date is passed. When it's due today, we're going to, style B and bold that red. We're going to make that if it's exactly due today. If the date or the deadline is 1 or 2 days left, we're not going to style B it, but we are going to make it red. Actually, we are going to style B it and make it red. If the task is 3 or 5 days left, we're going to bold this black with style B. And then if the task is more than 5 days to the deadline, this is just going to be plain text. And with no deadline, we're going to display nothing. So with that being said, take all of the properties, the names, and generate that formula for Notion. So as you can see, kind of just rambled again. We're gonna input that, and it's gonna run through a bunch of scenarios. This is more of my first live build with you guys, where I'm like prompting the AI. So I'm as curious as how fast this is gonna take on this try as well. So if I go back over to the task list, let's create a formula. We'll name this due date label. My mic's in the way. And then we'll take this and we will just copy that in. So you can see that it says null is not defined. So what we're going to do is we're going to hover over this red, error part so that we can see the line. We're going to take this and just drop this picture into Notion. And I mean, I just like to shoot it with the error and see what it says. You could probably prompt it and make it a little bit faster, but it usually seems to pick up immediately. So we're just going to take that again. We're going to delete that and throw that in. And as you can see, in 2 tries, we got a working formula. So if I come to the calendar and let's make, let's see, we want the label, so we'll just leave the label. So if we go into it, I guess what it did was, okay, it did a lot of stuff. Okay, so we're gonna move the property group back over so we can see it here. And that's just the view details. If you don't know, that's how you can like hide stuff in like the panels over here if you don't want to look at it. So now that it says due soon, let's take a look at it. So actually, instead of taking a look at it, let's just ask, yeah, what does that say exactly? We're just gonna see what it says. No, well, okay, this is not exactly what we wanted to say. So we're just gonna cut that off, and we're gonna be like, okay, no, we weren't looking for another formula. The last formula before this actually worked perfectly. Oh, I guess it did tell us what it was doing after that. So based on the numbers, if less than 0, show overdue, due today, coming up. So if we go back into the task list calendar, I guess we can say, yeah, okay, within 2 days, it says due soon, coming up. Let's see what we, and then, okay, anything past a certain day, you can see that nothing generates. So, 2 tries, we get a completely working formula. I know that if you're watching this, there's a good chance that you're not a CS major, I'm not a CS major, but with AI, we basically are. Like if you look at this code right now, I can almost guarantee you that we generated that faster than someone who knows how to write this can. Now, I'm not sure, all the devs in the comments, if you end up coming across this video, can be like, oh, I can write this faster. Good for you. 99% of the world can't. So that's where AI comes in for us. And that is the biggest benefit of utilizing AI on a day-to-day basis. It can really streamline your productivity from, content generation to ideas to just your whole workflow in general. And this is just one massive example of all of that kind of, put into one. So we have a working formula, we have a task list, it's designed, formulated, Kanban views and everything. So all you have to do from this point on is kind of just design it how you want, move the databases around. You can see that it automatically generates as a page. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that into our help desk OS. This is going to be a part of the series that I'm creating. You can see that the resource page from the last video is actually already a part of this. So we'll drag the task list page, maybe above that for now. We'll formulate everything in this page in one video, make it look nice and go over like Notion designs. But for now, we have a resource page, we have a task list. We've gone over how to use Notion AI and how to quickly generate formulas in order to, supercharge your Notion, pages in general. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I wanted to keep it quick and to the point so you can get back to building your perfect dashboards as fast as possible. I had a lot of fun making this, and I'll have a lot more tutorials on my other templates coming out shortly, so definitely stay tuned for those. And if you're interested in recreating the setup or diving deeper into Notion databases and, the Notion AI, shoot me a message over on Instagram. I'll make sure to get back to you. And with that being said, like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.